Hello and welcome to ALR Classic Car Event, and I do not know anything about the standings. I'll just say it out loud, but I do know that there was race 1 to 4 yesterday, I believe, and today we have race 5 to 9. And I'm gonna try to fish up some of the info. I do believe, well, everyone can actually see that we're gonna be starting off with the 03 Williams around Italy. After that, I am not completely sure, but I will try to get to that in a moment. But let's see then. So here we got it. So we're gonna be starting off with the 03 Williams in Italy today before we then head on to Germany, where the drivers will be using the 04 Ferrari. Then after that we will be heading to Spain and also into the 06 Renault before we head on to Britain with the 08 McLaren, and then finally in the end it's the 2010 cars in Abu Dhabi. So looking at that, I think I can say with confidence that I think we're gonna see some interesting few races. Also, for a summary, last week they had Austria with the 1978 Lotus, so I feel bad for everyone who did that. I know how difficult that car can be to handle. Nonetheless, though, they did it. And in the second race, they did Japan in the 1988 McLaren, also another car that can be a little tricky to handle, but certainly much better than the 78 Lotus, before they headed to Canada and the 1996 Williams. And well, at that point the car is starting to get a lot easier to handle. Still can have its downsides, before they finished up off last week with Belgium in the 98 McLaren. And I'm gonna try to see if I can find any sort of any sort of standings to get a little bit of an idea. He's been doing well so far, and well, okay, so I do believe I found the standings, and from what I understand, I think we might be going with a very different point system for this one, where the winner gets 10 points. But nonetheless, as of right now, Pornage is in the lead with 29 points. In second we have Boomer on 22 points. Before we then have Rossi, or aka Pythons, with 19 points. In fourth, Mesclas with 12 points, before Nutella Lover, the fan favorite, is in fifth with 8 points. Then Morris with 7 points in sixth, before the Hailstone has 4 points in seventh, and Terpesky has 1 point in eighth. So a little different points point system, but I do not mind it. Nonetheless, though, I do believe, if I see this correctly, that it's points for top 6. So really gotta try to get high up there to actually get some points with you. So heading into this round 5 then, as we know then it is Pawnage who is in this lead, and we will be following Boomer as he's heading down the long straight in this 2003 Williams. And you can, oh, the sound in these cars are some of the best sounds there has ever been. But first, going through the first chicane there, looks nice and tidy. I think he might have been a little too careful on the exit there. Nonetheless, though, he's still sitting in second at the moment, as it is Mesclas who is leading the pack for right now. Then into this next chicane. Ooh, a little bit of a back end loss for Buma there, but he's still sitting pretty in second. Before he heads through Lesmo 1, now through Lesmo 2, before he's gonna head down this straight leading up to Ascari, and I believe this is the straight where was it Juan Pablo Montoya who set the record for having the highest top speed down there. I'm not completely sure. That might have been Imla too, for all I know. I am a Mong, we can't forget that. Nonetheless, though, Buma is in the lead, heading into Parabolica. Extremely crucial to not drift out too far, and he doesn't seem to do it, as he's going to be crossing the line to take P1 in quali. And we can see that Audio, the Hailstone and Pawnage have all been disqualified. But it is Buma in pole, and I can't completely see it there, but it looks like there is only a matter of hundreds between Buma and Mesclas in second, so it's gonna be interesting to see in the race. The nice old BMW, and now it is Buma on pole with a 20.6. with Rossi in second, 2/10 off before we have Mesclas in third with a little bit more of a gap, as he's 6/10 off Buma before Nutella Lover is in fourth, then I5 in fifth, then Woolly Mammoth in sixth before Terpesky is in seventh, struggling a little more in these cars. Nice and Spicer in eighth, Blue Jean in ninth, then we have the Hailstone, Audio, and Pawnage in 10th, 11th, and 12th, but all was disqualified though. But I will have to say though that with a one-shot quali, I don't think but with a one-shot quali, that's where I was. I don't think anyone did too bad here. Obviously, you only get one run, and it is kind of strange to look at a grid with just one car on it. But there is no formation lap, and look at that, it's a drive-through penalty for Blue. Ooh, and that is a side swipe, it almost looks like. However, we're gonna watch at the front. It's a 5-lap race for anyone who doesn't know, so it's crucial to get the start right. Buma's had a good start, but look at this though. Mesclas having to defend from both Rossi and Terpesky. Terpesky on the outside of Rossi. Is he gonna be trying for a big dive into this? Oh, he's actually gone for it. Oh, and who is that? That is Rossi spinning out, and that is his race down the drain. Buma, however, sitting in first still. Now Mesclas trying to chase him down a little. We have Terpesky right on the back of Mesclas too. What about further down the field? We can see that Audio has had a blistering start up to 4th already. I5 in 5th behind him. And nobody really separated by much. Ooh, and that is right in the wall for I5, as he can't control the car on exit from Ascari. And that is our first casualty in this race. Nonetheless, though, we're gonna head up to the front again. Look at this. There is no DRS, there is no ERS, there is only raw power. And look at this. Terpesky with slipstream. He's gonna try, but he can't get the run as Mesclas has the run on Buma. Mesclas goes down the inside and he takes the position from Buma. And look at this now. Buma and Terpesky is side by side. Looks like Terpesky has managed to take that position from Buma, but he can't feel too safe on that. Look at this. Buma is looking for the gap into this chicane. However, he's going to be sitting behind for now. And further down the field, we can see that there is some battling there too. As that is the Hailstone who has ended up in the gravel. But look at this though. Side by side through these corners. It's Rossi making his way through on Nice and Spicer and Wooly. Oh, as Rossi seems to be almost losing the back end a little. But look at this though. Up in the lead. Terpesky is all over the rear of Mesclas right now. It's almost looking like Terpesky has not forgotten anything about racing the last week after the season finale, but Mesclas is managing to stay ahead for now. However, coming down this long straight now, can he close enough? I think it's going to be a little too far behind to go for anything, and he is. Oh, as he loses the back end a little on the braking there. Luckily for him, he didn't lose too much on that, but he's given Mesclas a little more breathing space for now. In the meantime, Buma is desperately trying to hang on to these two, but he just can't right now. While Pawnage, though, the championship leader, he's worked his way up to 4th. And he's now going to try to catch Buma with just 2 more laps to go. And we can see that it's after chaotic opening laps, we can see poor the Hailstone driving around with half a front wing, it looked like. But look at this though, the Hailstone on Woolly Mammoth. He's getting close into Ascari. He's going to go for the inside line. He's going to try to make a dive for it. He goes side by side. There is some contact there. The Hailstone gets over one. It might actually look like Woolly Mammoth has let him go in the end. But now though, Terpesky. He has to run. Mesclas goes defensive. Terpesky is going to have to go around the outside on Mesclas. Mesclas isn't going to leave him any more room than he has to. Mesclas keeps his position for now. It looks like Mesclas has managed to get a much better exit from that chicane. And now it's going to start to get difficult for Terpesky to actually get that position. However, and I do not know what's happened with Rossi, but he is out of the race. Interesting. But we're gonna head back to the front as it's there. The action is happening right now. Terpesky once again closing up in this middle sector and up into Ascari. He's still closing up on Mesclas here. As they're heading through Ascari, Terpesky is getting an amazing run here on Mesclas, but is he gonna try it into Parabolica? Obviously there is no DRS he can lose by doing it, but there is slipstream though, and look at this. They're taking quite different lines actually, but look at this. Only 1.5 tenths separating them as they go down the long main straight. It's still final lap. Mesclas once again go defensively. Terpesky is trying to go to the outside. Mesclas is still going to manage to stay ahead. Is he going to be able to get a good enough run? Look at this. Terpesky has a run on Mesclas now. And in through Curva Grande, we can see that Terpesky is lining up his move into this chicane. He's going to go for the inside move. He's not going to be able to perform it though. And it looks like Mesclas might have this done now as they head through Lesmo 1. Terpesky as close as he can be. Then through Lesmo 2, and this might be Terpesky's final opportunity now, heading down towards Ascari. You can see Terpeski is starting to close a little. I don't think he's closing enough. He's not going to get a move in here. He's going to have a beautiful run through Ascari to get a move going now. Oh, but look, he does too. He has an amazing run. Mesclas doesn't have the best one. It's going to go down to the line as they head down to Parabolica. And Mesclas in the reel. Terpeski doesn't go for it. He's going to have to try to get as great of a run he can out of Parabolica, but it is over. It's going to be Mesclas who crosses the line to take the win ahead of Terpeski. Then Puma in third, Polnich in fourth, Ardio in fifth. And it's going to be Nice and Spicer who's going to take sixth and the final point. If I have this right, I believe it is like that. The Hailstone in seventh. Willie Mammoth is going to take eighth. Blue Jean not even in a scar yet. I will assume that he has been involved in some chaos. Nonetheless, though, we can see Blue Jean heading through Parabolica as he's gonna finish in, oh my god, in ninth. Yeah, actually forgot for a moment what position he was on for there. And after some really fierce fighting between the front runners, it was Mesclas who's ran away with the win in this race. And I'm gonna just have a quick look here. Mesclas gets 10 points. So Ponage should still be in the lead, I believe, as Ponage got fourth, which means that he should have gotten 3 points. Boomer, no. Ponage is still in the lead heading into round 6 and Germany. And I do believe we're gonna have much of the same people up at the front in that race too. Obviously, the tracks aren't extremely similar, although there is high speed on both tracks, but there is also a lot more twisty sections on Germany. But nonetheless, though, they're going into the 04 Ferrari, which is a very similar car to the 03 Williams. Pretty much the biggest differences is that the Williams, I believe, has a bit more straight line speed, while the 04 Ferrari has a bit better downforce and traction. So it's really gonna be interesting to see, as we see still a few people who needs to change the car they're in. Still one more person who needs to change the car. The Hailstone, if you're there, please change car. Actually, thinking about it, I'm not sure if we have any breaks between these races. I don't think we do, as there is only a one-shot quali and a 5-lap race. It's not really the longest races, and it shouldn't be necessary to have too much of a break. And the Hailstone has changed his car now, so I don't know what exactly we're waiting on. More drivers possibly. Nonetheless, we can see people starting to ready up now, and as I said, Ponage will still be leading after this race. And I do believe he should be leading ahead of Buma by, it was 7 points, I believe it is now 6 points, so still close championship. One mistake is all Ponage needs for Buma to catch up, so it's far from over. As we then wait, I don't know. That's actually, I was gonna say we're waiting for the drivers to pick their setups, but we might be running default setups there. I'm not 100% certain there, but nonetheless, the drivers are doing something. There isn't many tire compounds to choose from, so I will assume that it's set up. Nonetheless, here we go, and we're going to be following RDO for a lap around Germany in the 04 Ferrari. As you can see, him being very cautious in turn 1, obviously extremely easy to invalidate in turn 1. However, heading down the long... I mean, it is a straight, but it is technically a corner too, but still though, hitting high speeds down here into the hairpin before you then head on to another high speed section and another corner, but the corner is flat out before Audio then needs to sling his car into the more twisty section, as he's going to be heading for the stadium section in a few moments. We can see that Rossi is already out of quali. Right now Pornerstown is leading as Audio has invalidated, and that's his quali done and dusted. So we can see him go through Sachs curve. And at the moment it is actually Terpesky who's leading and going over the line. It's going to be Terpesky on pole ahead of Ponage. And we can actually see 4 people disqualified and 1 retirement from Rossi. So I would not be too surprised, however, if some of those disqualifications are turn 1. But nonetheless, it is Terpesky on pole with a 1:14.545, with Ponage right behind, just a tenth and a half in second. Nutella Lover in third. There is a bit of a gap down to him. Before then, there is a gap of a second from Nutella Lover to the Hailstone in fourth, and in fifth, Nice and Spicer in sixth, William Mammoth in seventh, Blue Jean. Before we had Rossi, who retired in eighth, and then after Rossi we had Morris Guy, Audio, Puma, and Mescas, who all disqualified. And I won't lie, with such a short run to turn 1, it is a big advantage to start on the front row here, especially in pole position. But nonetheless, though, for those cars who did get disqualified, there is still chances. Obviously, you have the long straight after turn 3. Already on the first lap, as we can see all these 2004 Ferraris lined up on the grid. We have 5 red lights and away we go, and it's so unusual to not have a formation lap. But look at this though, Terpesky has had a good start. He's still in the lead. Nutella Lover has passed Ponage to take second. Ponage is now left defending from the Hailstone. The Hailstone who goes right down the inside of Ponage. And look at that, Rossi Oh no, the hailstone did not go down the inside of Polnich. My bad. I must have been looking at the wrong car. Nonetheless, we have Python, aka Rossi, passing Audio into the hairpin and up into fourth for Rossi. Ooh, yes. I believe that was Buma in the background, or it could have been. I'm not sure who it was actually, but somebody went into the wall at least. Might have been Blue Jean looking at it. However, there is a lot of fighting here now. And ooh, and look at that Rossi, not Rossi, the hailstone, I mean. Out in the gravel there, he manages to not crash. He slowed down. I'm not sure why, quite sure why he slowed down. But look at this though, there is still a lot of battling here. In the meantime, we can see that Terpesky has pulled away from Nutella Lover and extended his gap to 1 second now. In the meantime, Nutella Lover is under a lot of pressure from Pawnage and Rossi right behind there too. Now heading down the long straight down to the hairpin. I don't think Pawnage is close enough this time, and neither will Rossi be. However, further down in the field we have Mesclas going for the move on Audio. Audio going for a switchback maneuver, but he can't really get it to sit. As Mesclas takes away that fifth from Audio. And ooh, and there is a battling between Rossi and Pawnage here. However, they remain in their positions. They might have lost a little time to Nutella Lover after that though. As we're following Pawnage as they are heading towards turn 1 for the third time. Pawnage trying to close that gap to Nutella Lover, trying to get a run on Nutella Lover. He wants that second place to make sure that he keeps his championship lead. However, he's not going to be close enough this time. Rossi is a little too far behind. Further down the field though, we have Audio under attack from the hailstone. It looks like the hailstone is gonna, no, a little confused with every. Oh, and look at, who is that? That is Pawnage. She spun it in the hairpin. Nonetheless, we're gonna have to follow Buma as him and Morris is fighting fiercely heading into this slower section. Oh, as is that Buma right into the ball. It is a Buma bottle. And we can see that Pawnage after his spin has a little damage, so that's not great for him. Now though, Terpesky is still in the lead, now 2 seconds ahead of Nutella Lover, and Nutella Lover starting to get under pressure from Rossi now. As Rossi actually puts up the fastest lap of the race, as they're on the penultimate lap right now. And look at this, Rossi right on the... Oh, as Rossi overcooks it and is heading into the wall. As many others, he makes a mistake that costs him dearly. Oh, and look at this, I think the hailstone had a bad exit from turn 3 and he's going to be under pressure from Morris Guy. Morris Guy is going to go to the outside. He's going to try to do a switchback, and look at this. He's made the switchback work perfectly in the hairpin as he takes away P5 from the hailstone. Oh, but the hailstone dives it right back into his next left-hander. However, Morris is holding it, and there's a small tap there. I think Morris has gone into a spin. Oh, a half spin at least, and Pawnage from from spinning in third is up into 6th again and into a points paying position. As Rossi has been disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location. Well, I mean, it happens. It certainly happens. But now, though, no real battle at the moment, and we're just gonna follow Terpesky around the track for the final time. As we can see him into the hairpin, just trying to get a nice and tidy exit there. As Nutella has actually caught him. He's actually caught up a little right now, but I do think Terpesky has everything under control. As you can see him going through this section, and it looks like he's really just taking it cautiously, not to spin or anything right now. As we can see that he is now heading into Zach's curve. A small lock up there actually. Nonetheless, just a few more corners. And through the final corners we go, and it's going to be Terpesky who's going to be the winner of Germany, while Nutella Lover, the fan favorite, takes second. Then in third we're going to have Mesclas. Before fourth will be the Hailstone. Interesting, I believe Audio had penalties. Sixth, Pawnage by 2,000ths of a second behind Audio. Morris Guy in 7th, Woolly Mammoth in 8th, Buma in 9th, and in 10th we will have Blue Jean as he crosses the line right about now. And I know I tried to keep you guys updated with the standings and who was leading after the last race, but that's gone now. I'm not gonna try because I can't be sitting here trying to do math. It would just take too long. However, with Buma not grabbing points and Pawnage grabbing 1 point, the distance between the top two should still be 7 points again. And also with Rossi not taking points there should be no change there. Terpesky, however, has taken 2. Did he win? No, Mescas won the last one. He's taken 10 more points at least, but obviously he only had 1 point after last week, so he is a little behind still. But it is Terpesky who wins ahead of Nutella Lover and Mesclas, the Hailstone in 4th, Audio in 5th, Pawnage in 6th, just 2,000ths of a second behind Audio in the end. Before Morris Guy takes 7th, Woolly Mammoth in 8th, Buma in 9th, and after that it was Blue Jean in 10th, then Rossi got disqualified. And Knight and Spicer actually DNF'd. I did not catch that, but that is a shame for him though. The next track then will be Spain and Barcelona, while the drivers will be switching from the 04 Renault over to the 06, 04 Ferrari over to the 06 Renault. And this is when the car changes a little more. 06 Renault is very different from the Ferrari. Obviously with the Ferrari you have an immense straight line speed, however in the 06 Renault you don't really have. You don't really have the greatest straight line speed in these 06 cars, but where one car is struggling and another car thrives, and in these 06 Renault cars you can really try to make some moves you normally wouldn't. And it's gonna be interesting to see, as we can see that all of the drivers now has gone into the right car. And we can see some of the drivers has readied up, and I have actually gotten an update on the standings. So we can see that Ponich is still leading, and he does have 37 points now, while Buma in second has 28th. So there's actually a 9-point difference between Ponich and Buma now. In third we have Mesclas though with 28 points too, and Mesclas is looking like he's creeping closer and closer to Ponich now with 2 good finishes in the previous races. Obviously the win in Italy and the 3rd place in Germany. Now heading into Spain though, I think it's not necessarily that Mesclas is gonna be the best one in these cars, as he definitely looked solid in those 03 and 04 cars. As I said, these cars are very different. Straight line speed is gonna be lacking, corner speed is gonna be pretty good. Not the best either, but pretty good, and I do hope we're gonna see some spectacular overtakes. As I can see, William Mammoth in my chat saying this is my favorite car, but this time we will be following Mesclas on a lap around Barcelona. Here, as we can see him going through turn 1 and 2, taking a lot of curves before he then heads through this long turn 3. Oh, as Nice and Spicer already has retired. I don't know, maybe he's lost the back end, or if maybe he's just invalidated. Nonetheless, you can see Mesclas here trying to get as much traction on exit as possible. You can see him really putting down the throttle before he now heads into this fast right-hander. I'm not completely sure if it's flat in these cars or if it's not. Nonetheless though, heading into this, what should I say, half hairpin. It's not far from a hairpin at least, and into the more twisty section here, as you can see him now coming into this final chicane in a moment, and really taking a lot of curb here, as he should do, and he's up to second, and with a brilliant exit from that chicane, he's managed to put himself in third in the end. It's so very difficult to actually see there, but he definitely got a good exit from the chicane. Rossi came out of nowhere, taking pole position, just 6 thousandths ahead of Buma in second, before we had Mesclas just 22 thousandths behind Rossi, before then Blue Jean in fourth was just 82 thousandths behind Rossi, so extremely close between the top 4. Then in fifth we have a bit of a gap down to Ponich of who's second and 3/10 behind, before Nutella Lover is in sixth, and Terpesky in seventh. In eighth the Hailstone, in ninth Woolly Mammoth, before we then had Morris Guy, Audio and Nice and Spicer all disqualified in 10th, 11th and 12th, I believe. And let's see, there we have 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and away we go, and it's crucial to get a good start. And look at this, Buma's gotten an absolutely amazing start here, as he's overtaken Rossi before turn 1, and look at this, Blue Jean also on the inside of Rossi. Rossi, however, hanging around the outside. keeping his P2 for the moment. However, Bumado has had a brilliant start, and we can see Pornage is also up to 4th. I'm not quite sure. It's Mesclas actually who's dropped down the order all the way down to 9th. So I'm not completely sure what's happened to him. However, in the background though, we see some lockups from Terpeski there. Obviously, not used to the car and how it handles. Can be a little tricky in the first lap. But we're gonna head up to the leading cars. As you can see that Buma is leading, but he's not far ahead of Python, aka Rossi. And look at this, Rossi is actually being put under pressure from Blue Jean. Blue Jean, who's just been a shadow of himself in the first few races. He's now right back up there in 3rd, trying to pressure Rossi. Ooh, and who was that Blue Jean who made a mistake in the chicane? It looks like he's done it, because he is certainly further behind now. However, Blue Jean though, you're gonna be under pressure from Pornage heading down towards turn 1. I'm pretty sure these cars are gonna be topping out on the straight. But I do not think Blue should be feeling too comfortably. He will be put under more pressure from Pornage. And we can see actually further down the field it's Mescas who's really close to Nutella Lover. And he's definitely going to be looking to make his way past, as he's trying to fight a championship here. And with just a few more races, actually 2 more after this one, it's going to be difficult unless he manages to pull something out there. Oh, as Mescas goes a little deep, that is going to make it difficult for him. In the meantime, we can see at the front, Buma is still hanging on to that 1st place. However, I will have to say though that the battle for 4th might be looking a little more interesting. But we're gonna have to head up to Python as he is closing in on Buma. He's taking the fastest lap on that lap. He's gonna try to just send it in turn 1, but Buma goes defensive. Python around the outside in turn 1. That turns into the outside later. And Puma manages to hold on to his 1st position, but he's now under a tremendous amount of pressure from Rossi. In the meantime, further down the field, we had also Pornage under a little pressure from Terpeski, but there has been no position change there either. Oh, and look at this, you can see Rossi really trying to gain time on Buma everywhere. He's trying to take some much tighter lines to save. Well, not to save, but to take time, I mean. As they now head... Ooh, Rossi really jumping that curve there. But now into this final sector and into this chicane. Let's see then, Rossi with a big cut and a half there. Nonetheless though, heading down the long main straight, I don't think Rossi is going to be close enough this time. It looks like the gap is a little too big. However, heading down into turn 1, Rossi is just going to have to stay behind Buma for now. Terpeski not going to be able to make a move either, but Nutella Lover is making a move on Woolly Mammoth though. Oh, and Mesclas goes through as well. Up into 8th for Mesclas, as Woolly is trying to just hang on to these drivers. But let's see now, we're gonna head back up to the front. As we still have Buma in the lead, under pressure from Rossi and Blue Jean right now. They will be heading on to the final lap. There isn't going to be many more chances, but Buma though having a horrible chicane. Rossi gets a little overexcited, almost crashes into the rear of Buma. However, has he gotten a run here? I do believe he has. Buma goes defensive straight away. Rossi is gonna have to go to the outside. On the outside in turn one, Rossi brakes. Later there's a little wheel tapping. Rossi has to cut the track, and I'm not going. Alright, he does not take the position away from Buma there though. But look at this though, Rossi right down the inside on Buma, and this is the kind of spectacular racing I was talking about. And in the meantime, while these two are battling it out, you have Blue Jean just sitting in the background, hoping for a collision between these two so he could sneak into onto that top step of the podium. And look at this. It's the final lap. Buma under pressure from Rossi. You don't have many more chances now, Rossi. However, we did see earlier that you were a lot more confident in this sector. Ooh, and it looks like his back end had a little bit of a tank slapper there, and I think it's over. I think Buma is going to take the win here in Spain. Oh, as Rossi spins out on the final chicane on the final lap, but it's going to be Buma over the line to take the win ahead of Blue Jean. And then Ponage down in third, Terpesky in fourth, Morris Guy in fifth, Nutella Lover in sixth. Before then, Mescats in seventh and Woolly Mammoth in eighth. Rossi's Ghosted Car over the line in ninth. Then we're waiting on the Hailstone to cross the finish. Next one is Ario, who is in the chicane right now, heading out of the final corner to take 11th. And I believe Nice and Spicer might have been left. I'm not completely sure, but what a spectacular end though. There was some really desperate moves from Rossi there at the last lap, and then unfortunately spinning out in the final possible corner to spin in from a sure second. Got a feel for the guy on that one. Nonetheless, the podium will consist of Buma, Blue Jean and Ponage in the end. Are they all gonna take flight? Maybe in Britain, maybe. As we look at the final classification here, there is Buma in first. Blue Jean making it a 1-2 for the Dutch people. Then Ponage in third. Terpesky in fourth. Morris Guy in fifth. Nutella Lover in sixth. Then Mesclas in seventh. Willie Mammoth in eighth. Ninth for Rossi. 10th for the Hailstone. 11th for Audio. And 12th for Nice and Spicer. And with that, that was the Spain GP in the 06 Renault cars, and we're gonna head on to Britain now, where we will be watching the drivers use the 08 McLaren. And well, I can tell you guys from experience that the 08 McLaren isn't actually that easy to drive. It's quicker than the 06 Renault, and it's a little more unstable, but it's not a bad car, but it's gonna be a little more to handle than the 06 Renault for these drivers now, but still. we will have to wait and see. But with that third place for Pawnage, that I believe is 4 points. Or is it 9 points? Now, I'm giving up. I'll give you the standings updated when I get them. But nonetheless, still waiting on Nutella Lover to change to the right car. And as I say it, he has changed, and I do believe we are pretty much ready to go, as we have 2 more rounds. We have this one in Britain in the 08 McLaren before we head to Abu Dhabi in the 2010 car for not the season finale, the event finale. And if any of you who are watching are wondering why the certain tracks and cars, how they have been actually been picked out, it has been quite an effort from Mario and the admins, as they all have a reason for why they have been picked. And to give you a small summary of the ones I have been there for, then the 03 Williams and Italy was to remember the fastest ever lap around an F1 circuit by Montoya. In 04, in the 04 Ferrari at Germany was Michael Schumacher's 11th F1 victory of the season, equaling his total of 2002 on home soil. In the 06 Renault, a flashback to Fernando Alonso's home victory. Then in the 08 around Britain, as we have right now, it is to remember the Hamilton's dominating drive in the wet. However, it does not look like we're gonna have a wet race, and I will have to say, for the drivers, I feel very happy for them that they get to be driving around in dries, because I've done this track in this car in wet weather before, and that is not a good experience. And then for the last race, we have the 2010 in Abu Dhabi, where Sebastian Vettel clinched his first of 4 successive titles by a single point over Fernando Alonso. But nonetheless, quali has started. We're going to be following Pawnage Town this time, as he's heading into turn 1. And then around turn 2 before he gets to a heavy braking zone in turn 3. Before it's then into turn 4 and on to Wellington Straight after this next left-hander. And we can see that so far it is Morris Guy in the lead. But then heading through this long left-hander and into the next. Oh, as Blue Jean is out of quali. As we can now see Pawnage heading down the old start-finish straight and into Copse Corner. A tall, flat-out corner in these cars, before then into the assist of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Heading on to Hanger Straight, as we can see that Pawnage has worked his way up a little. He's now in 4th place. Here heading into Stove, and the final sector of this track, now just into The final corners. And into this, I guess, a double right-hander. I'm not completely sure how it's counted. But over the finish line, it's Morris Guy who takes pole position ahead of Buma, the Hailstone, Nutella Lover, Pawnage, Terpesky, and Mesclas. And right now I can actually. And there we have it. Mesclas was in 7th. And pole by Morris Guy by just 400s to Buma. So extremely close between the two of them before it's a little bit more of a gap to the Hailstone. Before it's an even bigger gap down to Nutella Lover, who's followed closely by Pawnage, and before it's then a slightly bigger gap to Terpesky again. And here we have it. I did have a feeling it was going to be rain for a moment. When the quali was dry, I thought we weren't going to have rain. But we are supposed to relive Lewis Hamilton's dominating drive in the wet, so what other way to go but wet in that case? And I have one prediction for this race. Spins, spins, and more spins. As we have 5 red lights, and away we go, as the drivers are now heading into turn 1, and you can really have a good advantage if you're in the lead, as it's going to be really difficult to see if you're back in the pack. And look at this, Morris Guy has had an absolutely brilliant start. However, Buma is under pressure from Nutella Lover, and there is the first car spinning. And I do believe we might have had 2 cars spinning there. The Hailstone and Mesclas both have spun in turn 1. And I do believe that is the only 2 cars who's been spinning so far. Ooh. You can see Nutella Lover's car twitching a little there though. Definitely on the edge and struggling with traction as they should be. Then going through Cops. A flat out corner normally, but in these conditions it's gonna be very different. And Morris Guy though really surprising me so far. He's really dominating this race in Lewis Hamilton fashion, you can say. However, it's in the mid-pack here where the cars are the closest, as Audio is gonna make the move on Terpesky, heading into Stove actually, as he's then up into 6th place. And look at this, Pawnage getting very close to Nutella Lover now. And I do believe this might be where we'll see anything happen soon, as we can see that Morris Guy has pulled away from Buma, as he's now 2 seconds ahead of Buma. And a back end loss from Pawnage there, I think. As he's then lost a little time to Nutella Lover, and is now put under pressure from Blue Jean. Going down Wellington Straight, Blue Jean is looking for it, but he can't really send it in these conditions. He's not trusting the car that much. But Blue Jean has definitely managed to get close to Pawnage now, and he will be there to exploit any chance he can get. As we see these two heading into Cop's corner now. Now down the hangar straight. These guys are not close enough to each other, but look at this though. Mesclas right on the back of Woolly Mammoth. Mesclas is gonna go down the inside of Woolly Mammoth. Woolly is not gonna be fighting it too hard. With these conditions, I think it would be difficult to defend that move too. Interestingly to see though, Buma is looking like he's gotten some pace back now. He has closed down a little of that gap to Morris guy now. On the other hand, we can see that Pawnage is also closing down a little on the Telalover. We have Blue Jean who's dropping off a little from Pawnage, so there is some battles who might be emerging. And look at this, Buma is actually catching a lot on Morris guy now, so could be interesting to see what happens there. But first we're gonna have a look at Mesclas, as he has actually managed to get really close to the rear of Terpeski. However, making moves in these kind of conditions is not easy, but it looked like he might have a run going towards Cop's corner. And look at this, Mesclas on the inside. He's gonna make the move into Cops as he overtakes Terpeski for 7th. And what a move by Mesclas, really trusting his car there. And going through these S's. Pawnage also getting really close to the Telalover, trying to brake as late as possible. He might have broken a little too late and compromised his exit there, as he's not gonna get an opportunity on the Telalover straight away now, and he might actually be put a little under pressure from Blue Jean. Look at this, heading down towards turn 3. We can see three cars very close together. And we can actually see the 4th car a little in the background there too, trying to get up to this train. Ooh, not the best corner from Pawnage there, as he's trying to once again just get close enough to Minatello, but he's struggling a little. And obviously with all the spray you get from the cars ahead, it does tend to get a little more difficult to actually see the apex when you're right behind someone. However, going through the S's, we can see that Pawnage, he's trying to not be pushing too much. He's trying to just make sure that the car is steady. But look at this though, heading on to Hangar Straight. I don't think Pawnage is going to be close enough. But however, Blue Jean though, he's not going to be close enough to Pawnage either. And same with RDO. As we're now heading on to the final lap, I believe. The Morris guy has crossed the line to take the fastest lap. He's extended his gap a little again to Buma, and the gap down to Telalover is even bigger. But Telalover is under a lot of pressure though. He has 3 cars right behind him, ready to go for any move, any chance they can get. But as of right now, Nutella is keeping his composure pretty well. As they head down Wellington Street, I do not believe anyone is close enough to each other at this moment, and I do believe we're gonna have to wait until Hanger Street before we will see anything happen. We can see the drivers choosing a little different lines through these corners. Obviously trying to find the most grip possible, but look at this though. Pornage getting a little closer to Nutella over here. I don't think he's close enough to try anything into cops. Or will he? Nah, he's still just right on the back of Nutella Lover as they head down towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. And out of the S's, will any of these three cars behind get a good enough exit to actually try something? Look at this. Oh, and look at that. I think it's Blue Jean and Audio both spinning out at the same time. But nonetheless, though, we're going to follow Pornage as he's going to make the move into Stove on Nutella Lover on the final lap, the final chance he got. And he takes the position, but we're gonna follow Morris Guy now as he's gonna be crossing the line to take P1 and a top step. Oh, as Buma spun out right at the end of the race. He spun, and Pornage is gonna be taking fourth. Oh, fifth. All right, so Pornage might have had some penalty actually. That is interesting to see, but it is. Currently, Morris Guy in first, Nutella Lover in second, Buma in third, Audio in fourth. Blue Jean, and we're gonna take it in a moment, I guess. But I did say it though, I was going to be expecting spinning, and we did get a few. However, I wouldn't say we got more than I expected, so quite a good effort from the drivers there. But really though, dominating performance from Morris Guy from the start to the finish line. Taking that top step on the podium in the end. But look at that, it's Morris Guy who takes the win. Nutella Lover in second, Buma in third, Audio in fourth, Blue Jean in fifth, Mesclas in sixth, Pornage in seventh, not taking any points in this race. After actually getting 10 seconds of time penalties, I'm not sure how he got that. Terpetsky in 8th, Bully Mammoth in 9th, and the Hailstone in 10th. And I'm gonna as we're then heading on to Abu Dhabi. We see a few of the drivers have already changed their cars. I'm gonna have a quick look to see if I'm gonna get a quick standings update. As I know that before this race, Pornage was 5 points ahead of Buma. So it is certainly close, with Pornage not taking any points there, Buma taking third. I believe, if I'm not completely wrong, Buma should be 1 point ahead of Pornage then. Which means that we're heading into a thriller of a last race here in Abu Dhabi. However, I'm gonna let that be confirmed first. I do believe I am correct that it's 1 point between Buma and Pawnage right now. However, for the other drivers behind, we had Mesclas in third. I think he might be out of the opportunity of winning this. And as we said, then this last race, 2010 Abu Dhabi, Vettel clinching his first out of 4 successive titles by just 1 point to Fernando Alonso. But let's see then. Only one driver who's still in. Buma also in the 2010 car now. So I think we are close to starting then, as I have just gotten my updated standings too, which says that Pawnage is still 1 point ahead of Buma, so I don't know, maybe it's points to top 8 and not top 6 as high as I first said. But nonetheless, then Pawnage on 45 points, Buma on 44 points. It's between those two. Mesclas in third is at 33 points, so he is out of it now. He's fighting to keep that third place, and right behind Mesclas by just 6 points behind Nutella Lover. And 2 points behind Nutella Lover we have Terpesky in 5th, before Morris has 23 points in 6th, and then Rossi in 7th on 19 points, Audio with 13 points in 8th, Blue Jean with 12 points in 9th, 11 points for Hailstone in 10th, Nice and Spicer with 3 points in 11th, Bully with 3 points in 12th, and then Abmo with 0 points and 0 points for I52. So there it is. There is 2 drivers fighting for this championship now. It's Pawnage and it is Buma. 1 point advantage for Pawnage heading into this one. So it is all to play for, and this is going to be the deciding race in the end. And with that, I'm not quite sure what we're actually waiting on right now. I can see Wooly saying I hit low fuel mode going into stove. Well, in these races that can actually happen sometimes. Nonetheless, and there we go, people are readying up as we're heading into this final race of this classic car championship. And with that said, Buma and Pawnage are the 2 drivers fighting for this. And I think somebody has gone in the wrong car. That's always nice. Nonetheless. I will have to take your word for it, Modal, that you're Nutella's biggest fan. I will have to tell you though, there's been a lot of fans in the live stream chats for Nutella earlier, so we do have some competition there. Need to get myself a Norwegian crew chief. And we are starting in championship order, I think, but the start has gone nonetheless. Bully Mammoth leading them away. And right now, a lot of battling, all of these 2010 Red Bulls. And look at this, at the front, we have a 3-wide moment between RDO, Blue Jean, and Woolly Mammoth. Oh, and I'm not quite sure who is who here. But we can see some wheel banging, and right now, Blue Jean leading. It's Terpetsky in second. Morris guy in third, and look at this, their cars just covering the whole lane as they're 3-wide. Fighting for second or third, I believe. Nonetheless, though, heading on to this second straight, we can see that the RDO is under a lot of pressure from Woolly Mammoth and Mesclas. However, he manages to keep both of them behind. We can also see that Terpesky has made a move on. Oh, and somebody's around. I think I could not see who that was. I will just have to say that it is so extremely confusing trying to see exactly what happens where and where when. Oh, and that might be championship. Oh, and look at that. Who is that in the wall there? I believe that was Blue Jean. Oh, and there's more. And it is complete carnage here. Blue Jean is out of the race. Booma is out of the race. After one lap of racing, the Hailstone, Pawnage Town, Blue Jean, Booma, and Mescas are all out. And I have no idea what's happened in here, but if that's the case, then that is championship over. Then Pawnage is the winner in the end. Ooh, and Terpetsky losing the back end a little out of the chicane. It's a restart, alright, so it's making a lot more sense now. Alright, so it is a restart. Then yeah, I thought I had a feeling that somebody was that I saw somebody in the wrong car. But that is good to know then. So to all the drivers who's still driving around, unless I believe there might be a new lobby actually. And I'm still waiting on the invite, so we'll just follow Terpesky around for a little. Terpesky really looks like he's enjoying this 2010 car at the moment. Sliding into a little out of some corners, but still looking like he's enjoying it quite a lot. And I will have to say that these 2010 cars can be really fun to drive in. Even though they're a lot slower than nowadays cars, they are a hell of a lot of fun to drive. As Torpeski has actually spun it out of the chicane now. Did not catch that, and we can see that Nutella Lover is also still just driving around. Of course, you could say that all these drivers who are right now still driving are getting in a few practice laps as it is a restart. You can see Nutella Lover looks like it's being a little bit... Ooh! I believe I saw a woolly mammoth there. Ooh, really throwing the car around the corners there. Trying at least, and you can see him going wide a few places. You can see the back end stepping out a little. And I will have to admit that this car, it can be amazing, but it can also be horrible just in certain aspects, as the back end can be really slippery. But we have gotten invites to the new lobby now, so I will be heading over to that one. As we can see that not everyone is in yet. Just a small reminder then, as we're having this restart, it's still just 1 point separating Pawnage and Buma, with Pawnage having the 1 point extra. But if I understood it right though, for this last race there is no one-shot quality, there is a reversed grid from championship order, which then also makes more sense why we were waiting a little before we started. I can also see that we're missing some other drivers still, and I believe these drivers are probably still in the other lobby, just racing around, not realizing that there is a new lobby. In the meantime, I will just admit that I'm a little unsure what to talk about. There is no tire strategies to talk about. It's a 5-lap race, so we're also having all in the Red Bull, so there is no car difference for the drivers. I guess we could talk about the track, to be fair though. Obviously the track has 21 corners with actually a lot of overtaking possibilities here. Obviously then going into turn 1 on lap 1, you have a good chance there, almost no matter what track it is, but still later on in the race that is also a chance before you then head into very fast section where usually in the normal nowadays car it's really difficult, but with these ones, if you really dare, you can try it through there too. However, into turn 5 is a way more likely overtaking position before you then also have turn 7. That's also a hairpin, which means that you can try it there. However, after that you obviously head on to a long straight heading up to turn 8 where you get the next great overtaking possibility being, and then through turn 8 and 9 that is actually a chicane, and that chicane you can really gain a lot on the exit on other drivers if you take it correctly. So then heading down towards turn 11 you have another good overtaking possibility, and then after that you're gonna have to wait, and well, to be fair, you could try to do something in 12-13. However, it's a very difficult place to go side by side before you then head to turn 17. That is the best next option, as that is after that long right-hander that is actually counted as a couple of corners if I'm not mistaken. And after turn 17 there is not that many great options. There is just really turn 18 and 19, you kind of have to be there already before the corner starts. Then into turn 20 you can try and maybe, and same with the last corner, you can have a go, but it's difficult places to get an overtake done and actually keep the position. No matter, you can still try, and obviously in these cars it is different too, so you never know, we might see some unorthodox overtakes in this race, considering what we're used to see nowadays. Something other that is also special about this race is obviously that in Abu Dhabi it's a night race, so it's not the usual daylight or anything, it's just big spotlights over the whole track, which really makes it spectacular before you get that fireworks when the leader is crossing the line for the last time. And with that, that is Yas Marina for you. So then we'll just be waiting on the last drivers. I see that the Nutella lover is here now. I'm trying to see. I do not see Terpesky. I see Abmo on the other hand though. So I believe he did one or a couple of the first few races. And now he's gonna be jumping in for the final race here. As I can see some people also readying up. We're still missing some drivers, but looks like they might have missed their window now. As we're gonna be trying to start the Abu Dhabi race for the second time now then. Luckily for me this time I'm a little more prepared for the reverse grid. Did not know that we were gonna have that in the last one, so kinda caught me a little by surprise, but I am aware of it now, so I will know that Pornage and Boom obviously starts on the last row. Except for that, I can't really remember. I think Woolly Mammoth is starting on the first row. But with Abmo there too, he's also going to be starting on the first row, I think. However, it's 5 red lights, and away we go, and it's a... Ooh, and look at that! Who is that? I believe that is Nutella Lover or the Hailstone who spun off the line. And oh, and there is some fierce fighting behind there now. As we can see them going 2 and almost 3 side by side through these fast corners. As Buma is already up to 3rd. Pornage is up to 5th. But Pornage though trying to get 4th as he takes it. And now really a lot of fighting here. But it is Blue Jean currently in 1st. Morris Guy in 2nd. Oh, and there is Pornage. And Ammo out of the race. And that might be championship over for Pornage as Buma is still in this. He's currently sitting in 3rd. He doesn't really need to do anything except for getting just 2 points. Which I think he's going to be able to get, especially considering his position right now. But obviously, these cars can be twitchy. As, ooh, Julius has taken some grass, and the same with Mesclas, I believe. But let's have a look at Buma and Morris Guy. They are fighting each other over that 2nd place at the moment. But look at this, Buma's trying to get close enough to take that 2nd place from Morris. However, Morris is defending well. But now though, going down the long straight, will Morris Guy be able to defend from Buma here? We can see that Buma is closing. Or he's actually not closing at all here. However, that could have something to do that he wants to get it on this 2nd. Oh, as Buma has a very bad exit from that chicane. And now I think he's going to have to wait another lap. However, further down the field though, Woolly Mammoth has taken 6th away from Nutella Lover. Heading on to the 2nd DRS straight. Well, DRS straight and DRS straight. There's no DRS right now. But it's still the 2nd long straight though. And ooh. Once again you can see that these cars tend to twitch a lot. Especially in acceleration. But nonetheless though, we're gonna head back up to the front. We can see that Morris Guy has been overtaken by Buma. I'm not completely sure when that happened, but it did happen. And Buma right now is gonna be trying to catch up to Blue Jean, but with a gap of 3 seconds between these two and just 2 more laps, I think it's going to be very difficult for Buma to catch up. However, we can see that Morris is also quite close to Buma, and he's going to try to apply some pressure here. Oh wait, Blue Jean has spun out of the chicane. It's a huge bottle and a half by Blue Jean as he's now down to 4th with Buma in the lead. And Morris Guy now obviously chasing Buma for the win. But Buma right now is looking a little too strong for Morris Guy. Just looks like he's upped the pace a little, and after that it looks like Morris Guy might be struggling to actually keep up here now. As we can see them, the driver is heading on to the penultimate lap of the race. Blue Jean is closing in on RDO, and I think this might be the place where we'll see an overtake, or at least an attempt on an overtake, as we can see that Blue is catching quite heavily on RDO here. And now into the hairpin, you can see Blue Jay taking a very different line to RDO, trying to get a great exit here. I don't think he's going to be close enough going down to the chicane. I think he's going to have to try something on the next straight. But look at this though, he's actually closing in a lot and into the braking zone. Blue Jean dives it down the inside. However, I think he might have been... Oh, and there's a tap and a spin again for Blue Jean in this chicane after a collision with RDO. What about further down the field? We can see Woolly Mammoth trying to get to the back of the Hailstone. In the meantime, Buma now just controlling the pace, making sure that he takes this win here. He doesn't want to do another Buma bottle. Not today. Not today. Ooh, and look at that. The Hailstone going very wide in the penultimate corner. Oh, and what is that? Blue Jean, has he spun again? I am not sure, but he is now behind Woolly Mammoth and the Hailstone. I don't see any damage. Or do I? Oh, maybe a bit on the left side, actually. Difficult to see. Nonetheless, though, going down this long straight now. Woolly Mammoth closing a little on the Hailstone. He's not going to be able to get a move down there. Oh, and I believe Buma might have had a small bottle as Morris Guy is suddenly in the lead. But what about Woolly Mammoth against the Hailstone? Heading down this second straight. This might be the last chance you're getting, Craig. Are you just going to dive it? He's going to go right around the outside of the Hailstone. He's going to really try it. But he just can't get the move done. And you can see that the Hailstone has managed to keep that position. However, heading into the final corner, we can see that it is Morris Guy who's going to take the win here in Abu Dhabi. Ahead of Buma in second. Then RDO is going to cross the line to take third. The Hailstone is going to be the next driver to cross the line to take fourth. But look at this though. Blue Jean diving it down the inside on Woolly Mammoth to take fifth away from Woolly Mammoth over the line. And then in seventh, Woolly in sixth in the end, by the way. And Natalia Lover in seventh. Crossing the line right about now. Or taking a donut over the line actually. Before we get Mesclas in 8th and last. As As we see Morris Guy here taking the win in Abu Dhabi ahead of Buma and who got third again actually? Ahead of Buma in second, Ario in third, and the Hailstone took fourth. I mean, Blue Jean managed to, with a Hail Mary dive in the final corner, take fifth away from Woolly Mammoth. Woolly, on the other hand, finished in sixth, Nutella Lover in seventh, Mescas in eighth, then Pawnage in ninth, and Abmo in 10th, although both of those two drivers obviously DNF'd in a collision with each other. But nonetheless, that has been this ALR classic car event. I do not know anything if we're gonna see anything like this in the future, so for anyone watching, if you could be interested in doing something like this again, I think the best option would just be to join the Discord and sign up for one of the normal leagues. I think this is gonna be something they do kind of off season when the normal league is just simply not running as usual. But for now, this has been ALR Classic Car Event. I have been Sondre Sorhag, your commentator today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more action. There will be a few leagues on the next game. I'm not completely sure on the details, but nonetheless, join the Discord of ALR. You can also follow the Twitter, where you will see a pinned tweet where you can join the Discord for that matter. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the races, and I'll see you again.